So I want to just go ahead and just have you start talking about the company and your job, what it is specifically that you do, what it is that you do at AKG. So just start by saying, I work at AKG and this is what I do.
Okay, so I work at AKG and I am currently the Research and Development Coordinator for the R&D department. And what that entails is purchasing all of the items that my team needs to run testing. Now, the types of testing that we do here include radiator thermal cycle testing, charge air thermal cycle testing, pressure cycle testing, burst testing, and then dissection once the testing has been completed. I also assist in kicking off a new test cooler, getting test coolers pushed through the plant and into our department so that we can actually test them. And I also make all the purchasing for our capital investments. So the test stands themselves and everything that goes along with it. And I generally just assist in day-to-day operation of the department.
Okay. And what is it that you produce at AKG?
So here at AKG, we make radiators, charge air coolers, oil coolers, transmission oil coolers, stacked shell coolers, anything that would go into cooling an engine on a piece of equipment. So that piece of equipment can be either a generator, a really large generator like you see at hospitals and office buildings, or into everyday equipment like a combine or an excavator or a tree buncher and feller. Lots of different types of agricultural equipment. Oh, we're also in a lot of fire trucks, doing some transmission oil cooling on fire trucks and motorhomes.
Yeah. Awesome. So just talk a little bit about your career path. Like what got you started? What did you do for school? Where did you go to school at? What kind of education background do you have? How did you get you to the point to where you're at now?
So I got to the point I'm at now in my career, and this has been a long road. It started when the economy collapsed in 2008. I was working at an insurance company, scheduling audits on insurance policies, and I got laid off. And I didn't know what else to do. And we had gone up to visit some family in New Jersey shortly after I had gotten laid off. This was in, I think, May, June timeframe, 2008. And my cousin's husband told me, he said, "Oh, you should go to school for welding because they're going to build a power plant in Raleigh and you could make mad money." And I'm like, okay, I thought about it. And when we came back, I reached out to Alamance Community College, where I had planned to register in their nursing program. And I decided to change because it would take a long time to get into the nursing program. And I really was only going into nursing because I thought it's what I should do. So I reached out to the welding instructors and I spoke with Michael Covington at first, and he helped me on my way. He signed me up for my first classes and got me in the door, and it was intense. I was a full-time student for a year, and then I heard AKG was hiring, and they hired me in June of 2010, and I started off as a tank welder on second shift. So what that means is I would take the extrusions, the channels on the outside of the radiator that get welded to the core where you see all those fins, like triangular fins. You can see it in your car radiator or your AC compressor. I would weld end walls and fittings and beaded tubes onto those tanks at the start of the process, and then another person would pick up and finish along the way. After about 2 years, I was really tired of working second shift, and it's very difficult to get on first shift anywhere. There was a job that opened up in purchasing, which was very similar to what I used to do years and years ago at a different company. So I applied for the purchasing gig and I got it. And I spent 4 years in purchasing, and then I moved to customer service. And then about 2 years ago, I moved into the R&D role that I'm in right now.
Awesome. Wonderful. So you talked about how you were going to do nursing and how like you thought that that was what you were supposed to do. So what made you think that you wanted to go into the welding industry or manufacturing in general?
Well, that conversation I had with my cousin's husband was really impactful because he never thought for a second that I couldn't do it because I was a woman. He was like, they need welders. There's not enough of them. If you get trained, you can get a good job and support your family. Like the fact that I was a woman never even played into the conversation. It was just Kelly, you can do this and you should do this. And I did do it and I excelled at it and I enjoyed it very much. It was a wonderful experience. I was one of, I think when I first started, there was me and one other young woman in the program, but every semester there were at least 2 or 3 of us, which is, it's great. I mean, the more women in welding, the better.
So what would be your advice to give to a young woman that's thinking about entering your industry for the first time ever, never welded, has no experience with manufacturing? What would your advice be to that young woman?
My advice to anyone that's looking to enter into welding or manufacturing in general is do it. It's very rewarding. You can learn a lot, especially from people who do the job on a daily basis. You learn so much from them, and not just about your very specific job that you're doing, but about the entire process in general. And I don't know about you, but I like to learn every day. And in the role I'm in now, I get to learn every day. I speak with the experts who actually physically put together our coolers every day to learn what I can do to make their job easier in the future.
Mm-hmm. Questions. What skills do you think are most critical in thriving and being successful in this type of industry?
The skills that I think are absolutely vital to surviving in any type of manufacturing environment is communication. First and foremost is communication and being an effective communicator, not just throwing the information out there, but delivering that information in a way that other people can grasp the concept. Another thing that I will not stress enough is basic computer skills. And I'm talking like your Microsoft Office suite of products. Most corporations use that type of software. And to have just a basic skill set in that is very, very important. Automation is coming and digital record keeping is coming faster than we're prepared for. And at least here at my company, we have done a lot of training on basic computer skills. So yeah, you have a computer at home and you use it to surf the internet, but that's a lot different than tracking something in an Excel spreadsheet or creating a PowerPoint presentation or a publisher presentation. And just having a baseline understanding of those things goes a really long way. And it goes a really long way to getting you promoted once you've come in as an entry-level worker.
Definitely. That's awesome. So what woman inspires you and why does she?
Oh my goodness, that's a tough one. I am inspired every day by the women that work in this company and in other places that I read about. One in particular that I would have to call out here at AKG is my friend Mary Kyle Wazalewski. She started off about 8 years ago here as an application engineer, which is our baseline engineer. They interact with the customer and help with design work, things like that. And she was a fresh college graduate just out of Virginia Tech, where we recruit from heavily for engineering. And she is now our new product introduction manager, meaning any new products that AKG creates, regardless of the type of cooler that we're actually making, if it's something new that we've never made before, that's her area of expertise. And she's the one that's out there pushing marketing and pushing the customers to try it and buy it. And she's behind some very interesting testing that we've done on some of our older product lines to help improve those sales. And she just has gone out and just kicked butt and taken names every single day that she's been here. And she inspires me to learn more every day.
That's awesome. I love to hear that. So what are some main challenges for women that work in a male-dominated field today?
Oh, that's a good one. Fortunately, the times they are a-changing, and for the better, I think. There's a lot more acceptance of women in traditionally male-led roles. When I first started here, we would take a communal break time at about 5:30 in the evening to have our dinner. And I remember sitting there one night, and one of the guys that ran one of our roll forming and stamping machines kind of heckled me a little bit about being a woman as a welder. And he's like, oh, you probably just walked in here and got this job because you're a woman, and they're going to give it to you to meet affirmative action or whatever program he thought they were using. And I looked at him and I said, I am here because I earned this. I worked hard to get this job and I need this job. And he goes, well, you're taking a good paying job away from a hardworking family man. And I said, what do you think I'm doing? Mm-hmm. I'm trying to take care of my family too. Can't do it with just one income anymore. Mm-hmm. And he kind of backtracked a little bit after that and left me alone and didn't push. But that's one thing, is that some types of men will always see a woman in their industry as a hindrance because of the fact that they're a woman. And you're not going to change those men's minds. It's the men's minds that you can change and unfortunately you have to work twice as hard to prove it to them. But once you prove it to them, they've always got your back. Always, always. I could walk out into my shop now and talk to any guy out in this plant that's been here for 10 years or more, and they will not hesitate to help me with what I need. If that means getting a product put together so that we can test it, or getting something done in the process to get it to the testing facility, they're going to do what they can because they know that I worked my butt off to get where I am.
Yeah, definitely. That is awesome. I love hearing it.
I do too. It's great. I love hearing stories of women, any women in whatever industry you're in, of their successes and earning respect and equality, for a better lack of a term, mm-hmm. than with their male colleagues.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I'm fortunate in my department. I actually just had my annual review, went really well.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, we do. My boss had very nice things to say about me and my work ethic, and the fact that I stay so positive all the time, and I'm always trying to improve our processes. And it's good to hear, because not everybody gets to hear those things regularly.
Mm-hmm. No, you're absolutely right. That is amazing. I'm glad that they do that for y'all.
Me too.
Well, Kelly, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No problem. I'm here anytime.